So I know I've sent a couple people to you. They were using their family friend that they've used on 10 different transactions. And, I said, hey, get a second opinion. And so they called you. And the first one that I sent you just this last closing, last month, they'd used the previous lender probably 4 or 5 times themselves. I think mom and dad had used them.
Yeah.
And I think they got with you.
It's like we ended up saving them like 0.5% on the interest rates and like $9,000 in cost.
I mean, $9,000 is, I guess
compared to $1 million, it's not a lot. But
she liked the previous lender, but
yeah,
I don't know if she liked him.
Yeah. Is your friendship worth $9,000? And my thought on that is, okay, if they're really your friend, why are they charging you so much freaking money?
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea. Well, on your side too, I think it's a good idea for people to just shop services a little bit. On the real estate side, I've talked to people. In fact, I referred a client to you the other day where they had some ongoing relationship with somebody, but the person they were talking to just didn't have the background in working in the luxury market.
Sure.
And, they were great at maybe the $400,000 to $600,000 price range, but they didn't know what was going on with $1 million plus.
No, that's probably my struggle on a weekly basis. I talked to a friend. He referred me to somebody, and when I called to reach out to that person, she basically said, we've already gone with a gal that we were referred to. And just out of sheer curiosity, curiosity always gets me. I had to go to the computer and just kind of see what type of stats that agent had. And it was crazy. She'd maybe sold 6 homes in her career.
Yeah.
And the highest home she had sold was, I think, $700,000. And here this gal was entrusting her 2-point whatever home with this new agent just because she liked her, Crazy. And again, I think it's great when you can like somebody and you've got a friendship with somebody, but oh my gosh. And the thing is most of the time that client, that gal will not know. She won't know what she doesn't know. She won't know what she missed out on, or she won't know,
because the experience is what it is.
Yeah, it's what it is. And she'll just assume that's what all other agents did or do. But in negotiations, I can see, especially in that price point, I can see a delta of $200,000 to $400,000 in a conversation because the agent doesn't know where the house needs to be priced at originally, or when an offer comes in, they don't know if that offer is the best offer they're going to get. And sometimes they coach that client to take an offer, and again, the client just assumes that agent knows everything about the market and where they need to be. So, gosh, it kills me sometimes to find out that people are so trusting, and again, I appreciate
the
trust.
They use a different approach of hiring somebody as a real estate agent. That same person, if they're running a business and they're going to hire somebody to be their front desk person, they're going to go through a process. They're going to look at resumes. They're going to get references. They're going to go through a process because they know that person is going to represent them. And maybe that person is going to be, a $60,000 line item on their budget for the year, and they want to make sure that value is there. But then they hire an agent that,
they just assume that agent has gone through 12 years of schooling. They've got a master's in real estate.
That's what you do, right? When you get your real estate license, it's 12 years of education
experience. It's about a month.
It's about a month, a solid month
of online classes.
Solid month of classes,
and they turn you loose. But I don't know that if I went to a doctor, I don't know that I would ask the hard questions.
Yeah,
myself. I don't know.
You assume that because they're in that position, they know what they're doing.
That's the difference. That's the difference, is because that doctor, and there's better doctors than other doctors. One of my family members calls on doctors daily, and he said, Ryan, there are some of these doctors that are so smart, but in the operating room, they're hacks. And I would not have them operate on me because I've seen what they do. But he goes, they're intellectually brilliant.
Good use.
Yeah. Well, again, but what I'm saying is,
actually, yes.
is if they're a professional in that one field, and you go in for an operation, whatever it may be, you assume, gosh, this guy or gal has been in school for 12 to 16 years. They are a doctor. They don't just hand those out.
Yeah.
But in my field, that's what I see is I don't want to say they hand them out, but you can get real estate license in a month. And now people will turn their largest investment over to the agent who has never even sold a home, or maybe sold a couple homes for their family members that were 200, 400. I'm an advocate of an agent having a track record, having that agent has, maybe they've sold 40 homes or 20 homes before they get turned loose to the public. It's this real estate's a big deal.
And it impacts people directly. Well, same thing on the mortgage side, right? I think ours is 20 hours.
Wow.
So you go and you do some licensing and you pass a test, and really all the licensing teaches you is how not to go to jail, like you hope, right? Like you don't really learn how to do it. And so if people are relying on that without doing some good interviewing, I think they're going to make some bad decisions. So with the folks you referred over to me, I think we got them a better rate, saved a bunch of money, and that's good. But more importantly, we closed their deal and closed a little bit early, if I remember right, so that it just takes the stress off.
Well, and that was the difference is sometimes people will go to a lender and they can't perform. And that's why I turn leads over, referrals over to people I trust, people that get performance done. And that's why it's so easy to refer to you, is because your wealth of knowledge gets deals closed. And not only does it get it closed, I've seen lenders that are knowledgeable, maybe not as knowledgeable as you.
Oh well,
but knowledgeable coupled with reasonable. You're not trying to gouge a client. You could charge them what someone else is charging them. I'm not saying that you're a discount lender by any stretch.
No, we try and be really competitive in our pricing so that, here's the way I look at it. If I'm going to do a deal for my mom or my brother or my best friend, why should I give them a better deal than I do for the client who's relying on me? And so I just try and make it so that if I'm doing a deal for my mom or my brother or my best friend and they go call everybody else in the county, they're still going to work with me because they know I'm taking care of them, I'm giving them good pricing. But then on top of that, we actually know what we're doing, which I think is valuable. And you're only going to find that out if you do some interviewing.
Yep.
At least some due diligence, right?
Ask the hard questions.
Ask questions.
If you're hiring a lender, if you're hiring an agent, I welcome when buyers and sellers ask me questions. How long have you been in real estate? How many homes have you sold? Those are the questions you should be asking, because that can guide the difference between you having equity in your home or you making more money out of sale of your home. And it should be in your pocket, not in a buyer's, because the buyer was able to buy the home for far less than what you should have sold it for.
And the worst time to find out that your best friend or your family member didn't do a good job for you as an agent or a lender is after closing, because now they're still your friend or your family member, and it makes it a little tricky. So I tell people, if you are going to hire a friend or family, awesome, great, but still do the interview and say, okay, is this a person I would hire based on their skill set and their knowledge and their background outside of the relationship? Because if the answer is no, well then, is this a person that you could be comfortable saying, hey, listen, you're not performing for me, so I'm going to fire you.
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, that's not a great person to hire, right? Like if you're not comfortable saying, okay, this is my deal, this is my money in my house, it's my relationship. I think if you're making the decision with your money, you've got to be in the place where you feel comfortable making those decisions. And when you hire a family member, sometimes that takes that out. And that's okay, right?
If a family member is someone that you already trust and you've done business with, and they've sold homes in that area that you live in or that price range that you live in, that's even better. But it's the ones where people go, hey, gosh, this person's been nice to me. This person watched my kids, and now they've got the real estate license. I feel like I owe it.
I owe it to them.
That's the.
Do you hear that a lot?
That's the statement of death, where I've heard I owe it to them.
I owe it to them.
I get the call 6 months later and they go, hey, that didn't work out. Now, again, I'm grateful for the call.
Yeah.
But then we sell it in 30 days.
Yeah. And they've used up a lot of time and effort and energy and relationship value to try and pay off a perceived obligation to a family member.
Yeah. There's value in hiring an expert.
There's value in hiring an expert.